Okay, hello, welcome back. So this is pound dollar 15-minute chart, and going to go over a bit of analysis. And we're currently actually live in this short position right now. So we've just had this 1 to 3 long position hit take profit, and price came into our supply order block entry as usual. You'll be getting familiar with the open of the order block, stop loss just above. We had a bit of drawdown on this one, seeing as we fully mitigated the order block here, but didn't get tagged out, still in, and as you can see, price is rejecting nicely for us. The take profit area is this sell side liquidity here. This is our take profit area. So hopefully we can tag that, but this is the sort of analysis for the trade in question. So I had this fair value gap marked out on the higher time frames. We then had, let's shrink this up a bit. So we then had bullish trend, building liquidity below, sort of bit of consolidation, building liquidity above these highs, built liquidity here in the small uptrend. We then had the London Asia high and the Asia low. So here we had the breaker structure, which formed our order block here. So I think this was actually hourly. Anyway, so we had the breaker structure, continued up. Price did also break this structure, which was the buy side liquidity. So breaker structure, but you could also see this technically. Now I look at it a bit more in depth, this would be a change of character, because we had a low, high low, formed a new low, then broke structure to the upside. So that's your change of character. Then this would be a breaker structure. So this is our valid order block. I incorporated the wick within this order block as well, because I believe on the lower time frame I had refined it and I incorporated all of this. But as you can see, price only actually tapped in and mitigated the order block anyway, so even if we had only marked it like this, price still tagged 50% of the order block, filled it and then rejected. But we had it like that. So we had our entry, drop down a bit more for you. Oh, sorry, 5. I wanted the 5 minute, not the 5 month. Anyway, so price, yeah, there it was. So I wanted, it would have been this candle, but obviously as you see there, you wouldn't have got tagged. So I include the higher time frame candle and the wick, so you get a nicer entry criteria. So price had this lower high form here. There, so our lower high. Price then broke structure to the downside. Where did that break come from? Well, on the higher time frames it was from these candles here, but again in this instance refinement would have served you a favour, because you'd have got a better entry, higher risk reward and a better stop loss, because you would have been in here instead of where my entry is, and your stop loss would be the same. So you see my trade's a 15 pip stop loss, this trade's a 7, so you're doubling your risk reward from refinement. So this would be a 1 to 7.4 and this is a 1 to 2.93. So you can see where refinement does benefit, but in my instance I use higher time frames because the confirmations are better and it's more reliable and it's better for my lifestyle, so, and my chart time and availability. But anyway, price break structure. So we drew in our supply, so we then saw price tag into our demand POI. We enter at the open, stop loss just below for a 1 to 3. As you see, we got a lovely rejection, had a breaker structure here, so we had a breaker structure there. Price continues up into the supply. We had a take profit just below the supply, and we enter at the open of the supply, stop loss above, and we're currently in this now, running $32 pips profit. So we're already at 1 to 2 on this. Stops are rolled, so stops are break even right now. So risks off, and we'll just await the take profit, which is this sell side liquidity. So just a live trade fuel. So as we can see, we just broke another point to the downside recently, so that's obviously bearish confirmation, as I mentioned in the third video that I posted. This is all still bearish, so again, if you were looking for a compounded entry, you could use this as your supply, and you could take another sell position from here. Stops just above the wick outside the order block, this wick here. You'd have your stops just above that as such, like so, and you'd roll your TP to here, and that would be another 2.4. So we'll see what price does and how it plays, but for now, anyway, I'll pause the recording and I'll come back after price has played out a bit, and I'll let you see what happens. Alright, so we are back, and as you can see, not the tastiest price action we've had. Obviously the supply in this case wasn't rejected, so would have taken us out for a stop loss hit. So yeah, that was a stop loss, but we're looking right now, still obviously in this trade, not as good as where we left it. We were up 32, now we're up 15, so we're about a 1 to 1 still. As you can see, we left it and price did actually get to about 1.3 pips away from take profit, making equal lows here, which is a shame because it would have been nice if it had tagged us out, but you know, we've formed equal lows and we're now on quite a strong bullish retracement, so potentially price could continue up, form a new high and claim the buy side liquidity either at this wick and tap us out at break even, or potentially even come up all the way to this level and form a new high. So obviously can't perfect it every time, but yeah, from what I'm seeing, just gotta hold on, because this here could be a lower high forming, equal low, lower high, with the likelihood to form a new lower low as such, like so, and claim the liquidity here. So I mean, we will see. That's what I think's gonna happen. Obviously, I think that it's unlucky that we got stopped out on the compound position here, but I believe that this move here has grabbed liquidity. So we've claimed liquidity from, well, let me highlight them. We've claimed liquidity from this buy side liquidity, this buy side liquidity, and these areas here. That's where we've claimed all of that liquidity from this retracement, which is probably the liquidity that we'll need to break this low that we've just created here. But time will tell, and I will be back in a little bit with however this trade played out. So yeah. Alright, so we're back, and I left you guys at this candle here, and price action has since played out further. So the sell position that we tried to take here didn't play out, so that was a 1% loss there, had it been taken. Then had price retrace to the break-even point, the initial entry at the supply again. Bit of consolidation at the supply, again holding the entry point, never really going into drawdown too much, and price then broke structure to the downside here, had a change of character. So we had a break of structure, and we also had a, oh yeah, I suppose that's your change of character actually, and this is your break of structure really, because the other one's not quite valid structure. So then anyway, price dropped, intermittent term low, fill the fair value gap, break the intermittent term low, then we're back into this bearish structure of lower low, lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low, lower high. This trade hits full TP at this point, which is 2.93%. I forgot to mention that I did see after this hit stop loss, I thought we could potentially take this buy side liquidity coming into today, and so I took this buy here, wiped that on from this level here, this order block created from this breaker structure, entered that, nice entry, minimal drawdown, and we got into profit quite nicely, not all the way to TP, and then tagged out break even. But I mean, it was sort of a cover really, that trade, just in case we did shoot off and break, and then would have recovered this trade and this trade had we moved up. But anyway, this trade hit full TP, so far we've had this one for 1 to 3, this one for 1 to 2.93, this one minus 1%, this one a tag at break even, and then I had this zone marked out, price came down, just missed it, and then would have taken off and hit the take profit, but didn't hit it. Let's go to the 15-minute chart now quickly for you. Looks a bit more choppy on this chart because everything's been charted up on the smaller time frames, but as you can see we've had a massive move. I'm not quite sure what this move is pips wise, 140 pips today, but anyway, as you can see, price has tagged the wick to this level in the New York after the London New York crossover push, New York tagged. I see it as tagging this level as grabbing this buy side liquidity and filling the imbalance formed here. So we filled the imbalance, grabbed that liquidity, and that's why I've had such a strong bearish move to the downside. Sadly, price didn't respect my zone and it missed it here. And now I can see us dropping to the downside further. I can see us picking up this liquidity here and potentially coming into this demand area here for a trade away from it. And I've also got this supply area marked up as well, but since then it's been broken from this push here, so I wouldn't be looking for this setup anymore as new price actions formed. But as you can see, we've had this high form, we've had a change of character here, which we could probably look at better on the lower time frame, but I don't really want to drop down any more than this because I like the 15-minute time frame for charting because it's not too slow but it respects it more. So large wick here, so this would be a order block for refinement because you have such a massive wick on it, as you can see, that it's quite hard to sort of take that as your entry, because say you did take this order block as your entry, your stop loss is going to be massive, so it's not really viable. So for me, I would refine it down to here. That would be mine. So I'd refine it to there as my short. This zone's now been invalidated as well, wicked through, mitigated. So points of interest now are this demand to potentially trade from and this supply to potentially trade from. And if we were to look, we would have quite good risk reward for these trades, and that is the current strong low, so should have quite a high chance of holding, but I would give myself some room for wicks, and then I'd probably target maybe that buy side liquidity here as my target. So yeah, I hope you see how that played out in the end. So it wasn't obviously perfect. We had a 3% win. We then had our short, which was a long term, more like a swing trade, for 2.93. We had our sell, which was a loss, and we had our buy, which was a break even. We then had price action today, which I didn't trade, and from our markups we can see we've got a nice supply point of interest here, and we've got a demand which is more favourable at the moment as we're coming into it, and price action does look bearish as we have just broken another structure point, and we've then again recently just broken these lows here as well. So price is very bearish at the moment, but we are coming to Friday. There's been a lot of news just dropped from the Powell speech, so it's obviously tanking the markets a bit because of the speech and the lack of confidence in the US economy for the coming months. So yeah, we will see, but it's a new week next week and we'll go from there. But yeah, hope you enjoy the video, like, subscribe, and hope you've learnt something from the video. And yeah, drop in the comments any pairs or anything you want me to try and do a video on, and I'll definitely give it a go for you. And yeah, have a good weekend.